It's often said that youth are architects of tomorrow's world. They just might be architects of the upcoming election. Our reporting from key battleground states continues this week in Pennsylvania with Lisa Fletcher.
In Pennsylvania, every political yard sign and campaign rally is focused on winning the support of voters who could sway a close presidential race.
Kamala wants to put massive taxes on American jobs and American industries. I want to cut taxes.
Today in America, 1 out of 3 women live in a state with a Trump abortion ban.
As the candidates make their whistle stops across the Keystone State, they're also making a strong effort to capture the attention of young voters aged 18 to 29. Here in Allentown, Pennsylvania's third largest city, we caught up with some of those young voters on opposite sides of the political spectrum. Old friends Ciara Gutierrez and Serena Torres, both politically active in Allentown, register voters and knock on doors to support Democrats and progressive candidates running in state elections. They're flocking to the trailblazing female Democrat who advocates for issues that matter to them.
Abortion rights,
climate justice.
On the other side, new friends Derek on the left and Mason on the right, who didn't want to use their last names, are like many other young guys their age, drawn to Trump's tough stance on illegal immigration and solutions for economic issues.
I don't think America is safe right now with an open border policy.
Inflation. I cringe when I have to go grocery shopping.
With nearly 9 million registered voters, Pennsylvania is a state deeply divided, not only among young voters, but across all age groups. Since 1976, voters here have supported Democrats in presidential elections about 75% of the time. But most of the results were close, including Trump's razor-thin victory in Pennsylvania in 2016 and Biden's narrow win in the state in 2020. For both candidates, Pennsylvania was critical to giving them the White House. So, where do the candidates have opportunities to connect with young Pennsylvanians and swing the pendulum red or blue this year? We asked journalist Brad Bumstead, who's been covering politics in the state since the 1970s.
What makes Pennsylvania different than other swing states?
It's the diversity in Pennsylvania. You have 2 big cities, Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, medium-sized cities in Allentown and Harrisburg, and it's the middle of the state up across the northern tier, and it's the very rural region of Pennsylvania that is bright red.
So it's really mixed.
It is really mixed.
What issues give Trump the best chance to connect with young voters?
I think his best shot is what he talked about with draining the swamp. I mean, I think young voters would relate to things aren't getting done in Washington. It's gridlock.
What about Harris?
Abortion by a large margin. That was the rise for Harris after Biden dropped out. And I think that continues to be important.
Issues our young voters in Allentown connect with.
I want to make sure that my daughter and the future generations have reproductive freedoms.
Climate justice is something that affects all of us, regardless of color, age, gender. So that's why I'll be supporting Kamala in this upcoming election.
We've already had terrorists and countries that don't get along with the United States cross our border as well. And that's my biggest concern. So that's what drew me to Trump, with being hard on illegal immigration.
During his first term, I was like a teenager. He reduced the amount of taxable income for married families. Now that I'm an adult, I have my own house and all that stuff. That's something that I would want to see again.
Since 2016, young men like Mason and Derek have cooled on the Democratic Party, with support dropping from 51% to 39% by 2023, according to a recent poll. Meanwhile, the number of young women identifying as liberal has increased, rising from 36% to 40%. The question is, will enough young voters in Pennsylvania turn out to sway the presidential election? The high water mark for the youth vote was set back in 2008, when a nationwide surge of young voters helped Democrat Barack Obama beat Republican John McCain.
Statistically, young voters turn out at higher rates in Pennsylvania than they do in other states across the country. Why do you think that is?
Pennsylvania, youth are extremely well educated. You have more, top universities in Pennsylvania than most other states. So I think, educated voters tend to be more willing to vote because they want to try to, influence the issues that they care about.
A message that these young voters can rally behind.
We have to go out and vote.
Comptra
Go out
can
and
go to
vote.
teas.
You have to organize to get the young folks out.
Go out and vote this November.
You mentioned that the youth vote was kind of off the charts in 2008.
Yeah.
What does it look like for the swing states in 2024?
Well, Tufts University does very detailed research on this, and they rank which states young people are going to wield the most influence. And it turns out the states that have the most active young voters are also the states on the razor's edge. Young voters in Michigan are expected to most shape the 2024 election, followed by Wisconsin and then Pennsylvania.
Well, going to go down to the wire, it looks like.
It is, yeah.